grateful to the entire FC Dallas team. This initiative is a very important program that our board is passionate about, making sure that we connect businesses of all sizes with opportunities in our community. Now, we have with us today Dan Hunt, the president of FC Dallas, Josh Dill, Assistant Executive Director for Visit Frisco, and Noel Laveau, Chief Marketing Officer for the Dallas Sports Commission.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. It is a pleasure to be here with you talking about World Cup 2026 and FC Dallas. These are our club and country scarves, and there are a number of them at every single table. The World Cup draw party is coming up on December 5th, which are hosting at Toyota Stadium, and I'll actually be in Washington, D.C. for this. And this is where we'll know the national teams that will come in our region.
We collectively talk all the time about Team Frisco and how well we work together. Josh, for this preparation, meetings have been happening for how long now? It's quite some time.
We joke with Monica Paul at the Dallas Sports Commission. I mean, this has been going on since 2017 and even really before that. So, same thing we have in Frisco, we have regionally, which I think is amazing, is that we have these strong partnerships that exist before we actually need them. I've known Monica for almost 20 years. The four big cities, we're all really close and friendly, and so we try to work together. So that regionalism is here, just like it is in Frisco, where, I work with these guys at FC Dallas and all of our partners year round, not just whenever something big comes up. But yeah, that we are meeting a lot more frequently right now. I think every 2 weeks we get together and start talking about preparations for World Cup just here in Frisco.
Because 218 days really isn't that far away at all. Noel, you have to be feeling this more than anybody because you all are dealing with not just Frisco, because we're excited, we're our base camp for a team, right? But you have a lot of other constituents that you're working with. When you're talking with businesses in a room like this, what are you telling them about this upcoming opportunity?
Sure. So just bio-wise, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for the local organizing committee. And we'll talk a little bit about what exactly that looks like. I was the Chief Marketing Officer for Visit Dallas. So I will say that when I talk to folks, what I tell them is that this is the most regional event we will ever do. And so just like Frisco, you guys are meeting every couple of weeks. Everywhere I go, people are having meetings about FIFA. And we try very hard to be in as many meetings and intersect with as many groups as we possibly can. But the way we are organized at the local organizing committee is that there is a leader for each different category or department. So for me, it's marketing communications. And then I have a work group that is a regional work group. So it includes people from Visit Frisco, from obviously, like you said, the big four cities, but then McKinney and Little Elm and Irving, so that we can make sure that every single corner of this region understands the opportunities that are coming for business owners, for community groups, whether it's through volunteering, which I'm sure a lot of people here have been hearing from the volunteering team, to opportunities at Fan Festival and how your business can be represented there, or your organization or your entertainment group. And so I tell people all the time, I want every business in this region to look at their bottom line in June and July of 2026 and say, that is the best summer I've ever had. That's the goal.
We love that goal. We're on board. Well, and I think that speaks to kind of one of my biggest fears is that we talk all the time about the magnitude of this opportunity. And I worry, are we doing enough to communicate how big it is and what is truly coming? Josh, can you speak? Let's not assume anything. Speak to the magnitude of what is coming with World Cup.
Yeah, and Noel, correct me if I get any of these stats wrong, but I know that the direct spending that we assume within the Metroplex is the estimates are anywhere from 1.5 billion to 2.1 billion over about 45 days. I was charting out actually my calendar for 26 the other day, and we have 9 matches. That's more than any other host city in the package. And I was, in my head, I'm like, we've got a month to pull off 9 matches. That's doable, right? And then I started putting them on the calendar, and I was like, okay, there's a match. Let's just assume that's basically a Super Bowl. And then 2 days later, we do another one. And so it's going to be fast and furious, especially in those early stages. But beyond that, we have the International Broadcast Center that's happening at the Convention Center. which is a 24/7, broadcast facility, because, they don't just work on our time. They work on their time back home. And so I know that FC Dallas and Dan and Jimmy and the team are trying to make sure that the National Soccer Hall of Fame is available to broadcast from at any given time so that media can get up here. We have our base camp. Obviously, we probably will have more base camps than any city out there. I think we've got 5 in the package right now. But Toyota Stadium is considered a tier 1 base camp. And so we really do feel that we'll get one of the top 9 delegations choosing Frisco.
Well, I was going to actually add, there's going to be approximately 100,000 visitors a day to the region. And, when the cheerleaders are here, you guys see bows in Frisco, right? So that typically has about 30,000 people in our cheerleading conference. So multiply that by 3 and 2.5, right? So the truth is, the reason why I say this is the most regional event ever is that not one city has enough hotel rooms, has enough bars, restaurants, entertainment venues to handle the actual volume. So when you think about magnitude, multiply the cheerleaders by 3 and some, right? Because like I said, I'm up here most of the time. I live in Collin County. And so I always know when the cheerleaders are in town at the convention center in downtown Dallas. You will feel the presence of visitors here in Frisco and across the Metroplex. And so I think back to Dan's point, think about how your business, the easy ways to show that you are open for business for those visitors.
And to finish what Josh was saying, this is the epicenter of World Cup 2026. Nobody has a bigger financial impact than we do. 9 matches. We have one of the greatest economic drivers in what is called Dallas Stadium. So don't get confused. AT&T Stadium is Dallas Stadium. FIFA takes that branding off the building if it's not a global partner. We have the International Broadcast Center. And to put this in context for everybody, it will be almost 200 countries that get their broadcast from the Broadcast Center. So all the storytelling of World Cup 2026 takes place from the IBC. And then lastly, 5 sites for base camps. And I make this point to everybody, and Toyota Stadium is a tier 1, and we have a lot of great base camps. Fort Worth has TCU, and it goes around. We have Mansfield and the stadium we're building there. This is going to be spread out through the Metroplex. But if we're lucky enough to get a top 10 team like Holland, I hate to say this, UT fans, they show you how you wear orange with a lot more pride. You've never seen so much orange, and it's an electric orange, but they will inundate your community. You've just never experienced or seen anything like it. So this is truly the epicenter of World Cup 2026, and we get to share in it. And there are so many different ways to be part of this. In the video earlier, we talked about the website, DallasFWC26.com. That's the website you need to go to for vendor lists. But there's going to be a number of different ways for you to connect with these businesses.
And these websites we will send in our post email, or you can scan the QR code. So we'll get you all this information after the fact. Dan, you mentioned how a team takes over the community and what that feels like. Can you take us back to your prior involvement in the 1994 World Cup and what that meant for you and the sport?
It was not very auspicious. I can tell you that. In 1994, and this is part of the beauty of the World Cup, is that there's really a grassroots movement in it to grow the game of soccer, right? That's why FIFA takes these, world-class events to different countries around the world. They want to grow the game. 94 is what kicked off Major League Soccer in 1996. The promise we had to make to get to the 94 World Cup was to have major Division I soccer. And our story goes back much further. My father saw his first match. My mother went to UNT when it was North Texas State, and she was a Rotary scholar. And so my father's first soccer match was the Shamrock Rovers UCD match in Ireland. He knew nothing about soccer. He was a football guy and a baseball guy, but he decided immediately that, this is a great game for families. And the reason being is that the passion of the fans, but moms and dads and brothers and sisters can kick a soccer ball. American football is not like that. Baseball is not like that. And he thought it's a great way to bring families together. He sees the 66 World Cup final and brings this team to life in 1967 here. Who's heard of the Dallas Tornado? That was Dallas's original professional soccer team. And he did that on the heels of the 66 World Cup. 94 happens. He's the chairman of it. And by the way, one of my dad's proudest moments was the International Broadcast Center in 1994. And I really didn't know, I didn't understand. I was in high school and I didn't understand how important that is. But they will start setting up in January, right, for the International Broadcast Center. Media will start coming. These are people who are staying in hotels, buying meals, who are looking to tour around these communities and get stories. They're not going to just be live shots of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. If you have a business and you've decided, I'm going to go back to the Holland example, paint it orange. I mean, you may be right there on Dutch TV talking about your business. Because I've been to every World Cup since 1986, and I've seen thousands and thousands of these stories put out globally because of fans getting interested, getting involved in the local communities, helping support the fans, lifelong friendships and relationships. There will be companies that move here. I had a Dutch soccer team, and this is a long way to answer. I talk a lot, so it's a long way to answer your question. But I had a Dutch soccer club in last year to see us, who was playing in Champions League, and the CEO was going to move his technology company to Austin. But after being in Frisco, he changed his mind, and he wanted to move to Frisco instead of Austin. I told him, Austin's the hole in our donut in Texas. Don't do it. Come to Frisco. Come to Dallas. And I think you'll be better off for it. But in 94, and this is the grassroots part of this whole thing, is volunteers are so important to World Cup. I was a ball boy for a game. I got to be a ball boy for Spain, South Korea at the Cotton Bowl. And the reason was they selected 2 kids off of every Dallas Classic League soccer team. And I happened to be really good friends with the manager's son, and he picked me to do it with him. And it was a lifetime experience to see that level of greatness, to see what this means. You guys, who's been to a World Cup? Wow, this is actually really great. This is more than usual. To see what this means to the fans, to the athletes, to the staff, and to their home nation, you don't have any idea. This is the Super Bowl on steroids, and we got 9 of them.
You've mentioned Holland a few times. Talk to us about what the draw looks like and when we will know what team we're getting.
Okay, I'm going to start with this, and this is a self-serving commercial. We are hosting a draw watch party at Toyota Stadium, and we already have thousands of respondents for this. And it'll be a great way to come there. We'll also be featuring a lot of the club and country scarves. Please sign the QR code. I think that's on behind me. We'll be giving away 2 tickets to each group stage match. This is the next most pivotal moment in the World Cup. And Josh said it earlier. Monica and I started in November of 2017. That was our first meeting for World Cup. This is 8 years of my life this month. I used to have a lot more hair, and I had no beard that was gray, and that's what this has done to me. But this is who we know will be in our region. And it's really telling, and we'll know the games. We'll immediately know the games for World Cup 2026 and what's going to take place at Dallas Stadium. The one thing you won't know is the times, but I believe they're going to announce the times of the games within 48 hours of this. And so this is really the next big pillar event for this World Cup, and it'll start to give us an idea of who will try to pick the Metroplex. And look, everybody has set it up here. This is a community bid, and for me, there was no secret that Dallas was a global city, but it seemed to be a secret to FIFA and some other people. It is no longer a secret. We live in a global city that is as dynamic, or community as dynamic as any in the country, right? We're so much the economics, the business, This is really a unique market. We do business in a lot of places, but we have these communities that come together that make this a very special place. I mean, we should be all thankful that we're here in the Metroplex in the great state of Texas. But yeah, I would get ready. I would watch this event. I would celebrate it because it's going to give you first who our 9 matches are. But secondly, it's going to start to give you an idea of which national teams are going to pick the Metroplex as their base camp.
I think the draw party is really kind of one of those demonstrations of how regional this is. So obviously there's a big draw party with FC Dallas at the Toyota Stadium. The official watch party is going to be at Billy Bob's in Fort Worth with Fox and Telemundo and some other things going on. And then we're also doing what we call a draw party in a box, which I know FC Dallas is going to use some of these things, but we've got some coasters and posters and pennant flags that actually carry the Dallas FIFA logos. And so if your business would like to, throw a party for the draw, you can actually get the draw party in a box. We are launching that this week. In addition to that, if you are planning on showing the draw, you also have to have a license to show the draw through our rights holders, which are Fox and Telemundo in this market. Now, if you show sports in the regular course of business and you are not charging an entry fee that day, on top of that, or are you not getting money from sponsors, you do not need a license to show something that you would regularly show. But if it is commercial in the sense that you are charging tickets or you are going to have a sponsor, then you do need to get a license, and that information is also on our website. That's the DallasFWC26.com website. So just a couple things to know in regard to a draw. There's several ways for you to get your business involved with that.
I'm sorry to jump in, and this is really an important point. FIFA protects their trademarks. And they take this very seriously, and it's going to take me a step further back on tickets. I get asked about tickets all the time, and I'm just so you know, my godson and his twin brother call me Uncle Tickets. So please don't call me Uncle Tickets. But FIFA is the only seller of tickets. Please do not be fooled by anything, scams. It's FIFA Direct, and they've done 2 pre-sales now. And the 3rd pre-sale will happen right after the draw, and then general on sale, I believe, is January. Is that's
correct?
That's
yes.
correct. So please do not go to third-party vendors or second-party vendors. It will not work out well. They actually print your name on the tickets, just so you know, and they have the right to check your ID to match against your tickets. So definitely pay attention to that, but try not to overtly commercialize this unless you have a license. And we'll be sending out surveys, and there, if you'll fill out the surveys, we can send you emails with the information to help keep you out of trouble with FIFA, because you don't want to be in trouble with FIFA.
Right. And actually, they also only allow the tickets to be resold once, and they have also developed a reselling site as well. So, I get people that say all the time, "Oh, I bought my tickets already," and I say, "I'm really sorry, you lost that money," because you can only buy them through FIFA. And right now, like Dan said, it's been the pre-sale lotteries. Now we do have tickets for sale in hospitality packages, so you can also email us, and you go to the website. You can actually see some of those packages that we already have. We have 1 match, 4 match, 8 match, 9 match. Also to help you guarantee that you will be at Dallas Stadium. It's a great way to do it. You're going to send an email to that, and Monica Paul's going to call you back and actually pick your seats for you. So I can't get Monica to stop being the one in control of those. But they include parking and hospitality and some other things. So it's a package, so it's a little bit pricier, but it will guarantee that you get into Dallas Stadium for the matches that you would like to see.
Very good. And Josh, from a Visit Frisco perspective, we've talked about, if you're a restaurant, how you can activate, watch parties, things like that. What are you messaging as far as welcoming general visitors to the city? Because we have a room today that we have nonprofits, we have retail stores, we have a lot of rail district businesses right next to the stadium. So what is your messaging for how we should welcome these visitors?
Well, there's going to be a couple of opportunities, and we're going to be doing, partnering with FC Dallas. They're going to run something called a soccer celebration, which will be a 39-day, really there's 34 days of matches, 34 days where you can go out and watch the World Cup in a public setting. So that's going to be a really big opportunity. I know the sponsorship team from FC Dallas, is here and looking for partners that would support that. So there's definitely opportunities there. We're going to announce some more details about that soccer celebration, where it's going to be hosted. We're hoping that we can actually impact the Rail District because of some of the designs that we have around this event. But there's just, whether you want to try to sell to the North Texas Business Connect and you want to go through those, kind of hurdles of making sure that you meet all the FIFA, guidelines, you can work through FC Dallas and support their efforts here. And you can also just, try to figure out ways to make your business attractive to international visitors. One thing that Visit Frisco has done, actually, we just launched it this week, is we have a chatbot on visitfrisco.com that's multilingual. And it's actually a little soccer ball down at the bottom that name's Frankie. And you can ask questions about, hey, if you come to us from, Germany and you start the conversation in German, it will respond to you in German and it'll tell you, hey, I'm here for World Cup. Where do I want to go eat? What's a family-friendly thing to do? What are some activities I can do on non-match days? Our chatbot will start to try to direct that. So for the people in this room, I think it's really important to go, how can I make my business attractive? And how do I share that? Whether it's with the chamber, share it with Visit Frisco. We're going to have landing pages for World Cup on our website. And we can start to feed that chatbot that information. So when someone comes in and says, hey, I've got an afternoon to kill and I'd like to do a family-friendly activity for a couple hours, maybe the game show experience pops up on there. So, that's the kind of thing that we're trying to do. Our goal, we're going to start marketing very heavily after the draw internationally to try to say, if your team is based here, you should base yourself with your team because Frisco is safe, it's family friendly, all of those things. So we're going to do as much as we can to maximize the impact on Frisco so that you have that pool to pull from so that people can start to come to your business and support it.
I tell this story about 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I was speaking at the Irving Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was their guest speaker talking about World Cup 2026. And I had a young woman raise her hand and say, after her question was, how does my business participate in World Cup 2026? And I asked her, I said, well, could you tell me what you do? And she said, I'm an event planner. And I looked at her and said, well, I would start by getting a list of the 1,000 biggest businesses in the Metroplex. I would call a caterer, a florist, a tablecloth provider, tables. I would find a screen company to have games on, and I would introduce yourself to the 1,000 biggest businesses and see if you can't put on a few of the watch parties. There are 104 matches. For this World Cup, biggest ever, 48 teams, 104 matches. We're going to have the soccer celebration there in Frisco. Am I not supposed to say where it is?
I don't know. We can say where it's
Okay.
at. Y'all are friends.
It's over at Simpson Plaza outside City Hall there. And we're going to have all 104 matches there. But my message to her was, you have an endless opportunity of businesses to try to do employment engagement. If you have a nail salon here and you don't understand the fandom of this, painting the nails in the colors of the national team, right? If you're able to do something, this goes on and on and on. I mean, you have people who, in an emergency, I was talking with somebody this morning about physical therapy. We were visiting, he has a business here, actually in Addison. And he said, well, how do I get involved? There are tens of thousands of people that are going to be here that are not the primary athletes of the visiting national teams. And they're not the coaching staff and the medical staff. They're going to be out kicking a soccer ball in a park and breaking an ankle and, or whatever it is. And they're going to need to go to PT. But also these national teams may need something that we haven't contemplated or they haven't contemplated or they left at home. And so there's a number of ways to engage on that front and get your name out. And with the soccer celebration here, there may be an opportunity for local businesses. Please fill out the surveys we're going to send to get involved there. But we're going to broadcast all 104 matches. And then there's the FIFA Fan Fest, which we're having down at Fair Park. There will be more people that go to the FIFA Fan Fest than they go to games here. It actually will probably be 2x that go down there. And so it's a great way to be down there. Obviously, we have partners there that are financially supporting this. This World Cup is the most expensive, I think, from a local standpoint, because we have our first LOC opportunity, local organizing committee. And so we've had to raise the funds. We raised the funds through selling 10 sponsorships, which are supporters, donations, and we've got to pay for things like field renovations, FIFA Fan Fest, legacy projects. My hope is that we build dozens of soccer fields in communities around the Metroplex. There are so many underserved areas where kids don't have an opportunity to play soccer in a safe space. And all you have to do is go see one of these that we put in. We're working on number 14 or number 15 right now, but some of them have 10,000 kids a month use these spaces. Well, that's one part of our hope and our legacy, is that we can provide more fields and pitches around our community, because a bad day for us is not a bad day for a lot of these families. And until you walk a day in their shoes, I don't think any of us can understand. So providing a space for them that they can have a break from what they're going through in life and maybe have a positive influence and a mentor in their life is incredibly important. So there's a lot of fundraising around this. A lot of sponsorships. FanFest has its own sponsors. And I'm just going to go ahead and say this, and Monica is probably losing her mind somewhere as I say this, but we're raising enough funds because, guys, I want to have the Women's World Cup final here in 2031.
That's our goal.
And I know we're all on the same team here, and it'll be the same format. It'll be 48 teams, 104 matches. I believe they're going to go with that format. This is one of the most important things to me. Obviously, I think you guys can tell how I feel about soccer and World Cup 2026, but we need to raise the funds because FIFA probably won't let us sell 10 local sponsorships like they did this go around. It's been really complicated, actually. They've been good to work with, but they have 17 global partners, I believe is the number. And if you sell a local sponsorship that conflicts with a global partner, that doesn't work for them. And so we need to raise funds now today, one, to pay for our effort. So if you know people, please reach out, or have companies that are interested or want to make donations, please reach out. But this is setting the table for us. I was disappointed we didn't get the final here in 2026. Again, this is a global community. Dallas is a global city. We have the most culturally authentic, cool bid, with Fort Worth, with Frisco, Plano. I mean, it's just such a unique bid. But my goal is for us to have the Women's World Cup final in 2031. The U.S. women's national team is the greatest sports dynasty of all time. Since 1991, nobody's won more of anything in any sport. And when 9 of the 10 greatest players of all time are American players, it just tells you what that is. And so I want to make sure that we, again, are the epicenter of Women's World Cup 2031.
Well, can I just say something real quick? Like the Women's World Cup will impact Frisco even more so. We're a base camp, but for this year, but we would possibly have matches here in Frisco in that Women's World Cup. So this is a playbook that we're developing, but it's going to be repeated in the future. So remember what you do this year, what worked, what didn't, and we'll repeat it again in 31.
So a couple of things to add in regard to how you can get involved. So we launched what's called the Community Engagement Playbook. Again, back to the website. You go to the Get Involved button and you'll find the playbook. The playbook will have several different ways that your business can submit for things like getting involved at FanFest. If you have an entertainment business and you want them to perform at Fan Festival, there is a form for that. We will be launching the FIFA app as well at the beginning of the year. So you can submit your information if you would like to be included in the app. The reason why that's important is that is the place where people's tickets will be. So your tickets will be there. We will also be integrating the Fan Festival. So like Dan said, most people that come to visit and our locals will be at the Fan Festival. It has it's at Fair Park, as we mentioned. Any one-time capacity is 35,000. We expect to see over 100,000 people there some days. So getting involved in the Fan Festival, there are some opportunities to do that. It is all in the Community Engagement Playbook. So make sure you go to our website, download that. It's digital because new opportunities are happening all the time. So we want to be able to update that on a regular basis. Get registered in the North Texas Business Connect program. You've seen that QR code a few times. It's important to get registered there because you will start getting the updates when we open up the RFPs and the RFIs. In addition to that, we were talking a little bit about how your business can potentially get involved with signage and things like that. We will be releasing a kit of parts, which will look like all of the signage that we're doing from the airport through the last mile. It will have a lot of our colors that's overall. You see our greens that we have. I know that was kind of a departure from our typical blues, but we've engaged it. And so all of that will look the same. What I want is that when anyone gets here, in June of 2026, that there's no way that they don't know the World Cup is going on here. So ensuring that consistency across all of that. So there will be an opportunity for you to purchase packages for your window clings and other things, sidewalk aspects as well. And your teams here are very involved with our work group. So they will be getting all this information. We have a meeting coming up on the 21st. I know everyone's excited because there are things they've been waiting on, and we're really excited to be able to launch that at the end of November so that you guys can get involved with some of that too.
Noel, it's important to point out though, like, this is not instead of asking for permission, you're begging for forgiveness kind of situation. Don't try to put up logos and things like that on your own. Go through the official channels because FIFA will police this heavily, right? Yeah,
they have a 30-person brand protection team that's going into every market. And trust, I get calls. So whether it's my dear partner at FC Dallas or anyone else, people calls me when something happens that's not allowed, or, and you can always call me. I will work hard to be able to get things approved if it seems like it's something that can get approved. I have sent, logo usage into, even when I use our own logo, we have to get permission to use it. I mean, it is a very strict process. And back to Dan's point about the commercial partners that they have, we have a lot of conflict. So FIFA does not use the branded names, obviously, to their stadiums, but their commercial partner in telecom is Verizon. Obviously, the stadium is a Ford stadium. Their commercial partner is Kia Hyundai. It's a Pepsi stadium. Their commercial partner is Coke. It's a Bud stadium. Their commercial partner is Michelob Ultra. It's a lot of fun for me. So those conflicts exist, and they're very serious about it. To Dan's point, it is a very expensive opportunity for the commercial partners. So they have to protect those rights, and they do it very well. So if I call you, understand, I'm always going to try to find a way for us to represent and to engage at the utmost and the highest level that we possibly can. Remember, my goal is for you to have the best summer you've ever had, but let's talk through it. And so my email, you'll find me on the website, email me.
And am I right in saying that Frisco is going to provide, for lack of a better term, flair for stores, fronts, city streets that'll help advertise, around the World Cup and stuff like that? You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, well, I mean, our plan is to kind of figure out, what the cost is of getting those things and then making sure it's available to everyone. We're going through our city budget process right now for World Cup specifically. And it's an expensive endeavor from the city side to do all of this. But what we want to do is make sure that we can connect you to those resources. If we're able to get some of those resources and share them, we're happy to do that as well.
Be overt in this opportunity, but play within the rules is sort of the message. Raise your hand, because you can imagine you have people coming to these communities, coming to Frisco, coming to Dallas. They have no idea what to expect. I mean, frankly, I was a little surprised talking with FIFA about their perception sometimes with a lot of the Europeans coming in. They just didn't understand the magnitude and scale of this. That would be the one thing. I think they were shocked by the magnitude and scale of this community, of the Metroplex. A fun story, because FIFA loves revenue and doesn't like expenses, and they laugh every time I say this to them, is we get asked about public transportation a lot. And Michael Morse, who's the head of North Texas Transit Authority, who, by the way, worked on the '94 World Cup, they said he's one of the best they've ever seen in the entire world. They pulled me aside and said, wow, this guy is on top of it. So he has a very thoughtful plan on public transportation. But what I explained to FIFA is we're a driving culture in Texas, and frankly, a lot in the United States. And we talked about the value of parking spots and tailgating. I mean, when you think about Dallas Stadium, it just doesn't sound right when you say Dallas, although we are the Dallas bid. But when you think about it, if you add all the vendors and all the third-party lots and the local houses that are selling spots, which they will benefit from that, there are over 34,000 or 5,000 parking spots there, and talking through FIFA and saying, look, we want this to be culturally authentic, and a big part of that here in Texas is tailgating. And so that tailgating experience in the parking lot, again, great opportunities if you have restaurants, right, to provide food to these fans who are going to games. And I'll say this, and this is a very frank conversation. There may be opportunities for people to make a little bit of money, but there also may be opportunities to make a lot of money. But my biggest hope is this, is that your June and July is the best June and July you'll ever have till Women's World Cup 2031.
We'll set records and then beat them right away. Okay, so Noelle, I know you have a hard stop. She is running from place to place and commitment to commitment with this. We're going to open it up for questions, but I want to make sure we get you out of here on time. Is there anything else you'd want to add for this group before you go?
I'd say definitely sign up for our newsletter. Go to the website. There's a lot of information there, and things are changing very quickly, especially as the draw comes up. We will start having a much better picture of, really who's going to be here, what visitors. Dan's made some really good points, about Holland, right? So when we really know who's coming, we'll better understand and start to better understand the behaviors of those different teams. Dan can tell you the fan groups that are associated with some of these teams are very well organized. We will start having discussions with them, conversations, especially when they choose their base camps. So base camps will be finalized by March of next year. The transportation plan, most of these plans, and Michael Morris is leading our work group for transportation, COG is, most of these plans will be finalized in March. So we will start having a really clear picture, I think, in the first quarter of next year. But really get in touch with us so we can stay in touch with you. That would be the biggest point I would make today, because there's going to be a lot more information coming. We've already started to see that. So once the draw happens, you should expect that through December and January, there are going to be a lot of RFIs, RFPs. Like Dan said, they take over the convention center for the IBC on January 14th. They just took over the Food and Fiber building at Fair Park for the Volunteer Center that will open on November 18th. There are just a lot of things that are happening day by day, and you don't want to miss any of it.
And this isn't, 1986, by the way. We have the internet. We've been talking to every one of these countries, and I'm saying for your business, reach out. I mean, there's ways to advertise internationally, ways to send emails, ways to look up tour companies. That's one of the easiest ones. In all these countries, there are tour companies that are going to be sending fans over for games. Introduce yourself. Say, I'm right here in Dallas, or I'm right here in Frisco. The marketing, and again, I'm too old for this, but the social media, TikTok stuff is a great way to put out a commercial and target those countries. We've had talks with every country for coming to the World Cup effectively. I mean, there are some first-time qualifiers. I'm sorry to digress. Anybody know who any of the first-time qualifiers are? FC Dallas family, you're not allowed to say. So Uzbekistan for the first time, Jordan for the first time, and Cape Verde for the first time. We had 3 first-time qualifiers. We'll have several more first-time qualifiers, and we'll have several countries that haven't been in the tournament in 24 years. That's what the expanded format is so great. But I mean, you use your tools out there, and again, be overt, but play within the lanes.
Very good. Noelle, let's give it up for Noelle and for participation today. Thank you for squeezing us in. We look forward to staying in touch, and we commit, we will reach out, we will sign up when we get the follow-up. Okay, we have chamber staff, Nicole, raise your hand, Shelby over here, that have microphones. So now is your chance. You have questions, I know, because we've been talking this morning. So let's just start out. Who's brave to go first? Raise your hand, and we'll come and work the room. If you have a question and you don't have the mic first, go ahead and raise your hand. Shelby will have you queued up and waiting. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Julianne with LC Marketing. This has to do with branding and logos. So when we are working with, say, a local restaurant or a restaurant in Dallas, and they want to put, say, on their napkins or their cups, the FIFA brand or, a different country, Are we able, I'm a distributor, are we able to download the correct logo with brand standards? Or is this where we need to go in and be licensed?
So Noelle's the expert on this, obviously, and so but she had to leave. But I would say you're not allowed anything that the 26 logo with the trophy in the middle of it is the most protected logo that FIFA has. The local organizing committee logo is 26 and has Dallas underneath. That's where Noelle and the team can give you rights to utilize that. So I would not go on the internet and download something and try to put it out there. FIFA will figure that out.
Please reach out to Noelle, but you may be able to be able to use the Dallas 26 logo.
Okay, good. So we basically need, there's no way, we're not going to just download it from a file from FIFA. Okay.
That would be bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just checking to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Good question.
Hi, I'm Jen Clark with Rough Creek Lodge Ranch and Resort. We're technically based in Glen Rose, but we have an office up here. My question is, where should we go to look for those RFPs for people looking for the Texas style experience, that kind of thing?
So that North Texas Business Connect, you can sign up for that and you will literally get pushed RFPs regularly. As far as lodging and hospitality, those types of things, we were asked by FIFA to contract very specific hotels, and they were usually looking for at least a minimum number of room counts and minimum size and things like that. So we kind of have a layered approach in Frisco where we have FIFA secured blocks. We have the Crew Fair, which is the Dallas Local Organizing Committee fan rooms. So we have blocks committed in that. And then we have a German tour operator, Vienton Tours, that has already booked some rooms in Frisco. So I was building a model trying to estimate hotel revenue projections. And next summer, it's a crazy mad scientist kind of thing. But we have over 30,000 hotel room nights committed to just over 12 hotels, just to the official blocks. And so we're trying to estimate and the average room rate is north of $350 a night. But Smith Travel Research just said that Dallas will receive the most impact of any city for hospitality and hotel rooms. So you're going to have your transient guests that are not going to book, and then you're going to have all this compression in the market as well. So there's going to be huge opportunities for lodging and hospitality.
Yeah. Love Rough Creek, by the way. It's a great place.
Thank you.
A little advice. The media is coming in January and February, and they'll be here telling stories. I would invite the media down for maybe a complimentary experience, see how many you could get, have them shoot scenes for that authentic Texas experience that so many international travelers want to have, because that will be broadcast back in their home countries. That content, it should pay for itself many times over, because so many guests will be looking for a true Texas experience.
We're having a hard time figuring out who we reach out to set all of that up.
Yeah, so let me get back to you and we'll grab a card. But with our local organizing committee and then the whole Dallas group, there's somebody who's going to be in charge of media specifically. And that's something that I'm sure a story we can put in front of them. Because frankly, we want to tell the story of the Metroplex, and Glen Rose is quickly becoming the Metroplex too, or already is. And so we want to tell all of these different stories in these communities, because we want to spread the wealth. We want the visitors to experience the different areas where people live and add economic stimulus.
I think another good point to add to that, we were actually just in DC last week, and we were meeting with Andrew Giuliani, who's leading up the federal task force. And one of his points that I thought was very good is when the media is here, they're looking for stories. And so you kind of have the option to help give them the stories that you want and have your community on display, or they will find stories. So thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's a good proactive effort. Do we have a question back here?
Yes. My name is Texana Denny. I am the Director of Operations for a franchise of Howdy Homemade Ice Cream. We employ individuals with autism and other special needs. The flagship store is in Dallas, and unfortunately, our store will be in the process of being built in July of 26. But right now, we are operating exclusively through caterings. We go to different events and we cater, but we also have an ice cream cart. So my question would be, is there going to be a website or like a page rather on the website for places that you can possibly apply to be a vendor at the parking lot for the tailgating events? Will there be a page maybe that has all of the watch parties kind of condensed into one, area that we could possibly reach out to those people for catering opportunities? We just have a couple of different, ways that we could work, and I just want to know how to get the best information.
There's going to be several avenues. Again, I go back to Dallas FWC 26. We're also going to be sending out a survey, a local business survey to this group. Please fill it out because we can hopefully provide opportunities or connect. We have the soccer celebration as an opportunity in Frisco. And then, I would also advise you to reach out to event planners that coming out of this because there will be the number of watch parties in offices. I mean, I hate to tell you this, there might not be a lot of business done in June and July because you're going to have multiple matches on every day. Just think about this. 34 of the 39 days are going to have matches, and a lot of those days are multiple matches, and it's in our time slots. World Cup in 2022 was in Qatar. World Cup, in Russia in 2018. Those were hard time slots for us, and so your employees will be watching the games. So I would reach out to event planners and things like that. Please fill out the survey. Please come to the draw party. Things like that. That's how you're going to get the word out about your business.
Yeah, it's a good note. And we actually have several event planners and venues in the room today, so great connections you can make. We have a question over here. Brian?
Good morning. My name is Brian Poduska. I'm the owner of Real Property Management, so real estate brokerage. Obviously, a massive opportunity coming up over the next 6 months, right? My question is more for the future. What is the future impact on the region? And are there processes in place to kind of funnel that opportunity for future business?
I mean, yes, there's a ton of opportunity. We talked about the Dutch team quite a bit today. They do something called the Heineken House around there, or they used to. I think they may have slowed that down, but around the Olympics, where they bring sports tech executives to a major event. Our EDC wants to really engage, once we figure out our base camp, find those top companies and things that are supporters of that may travel so that we get a chance to be in front of their C-suite to say, if you need a North American headquarters, please do it in Frisco. We're looking at a lot of opportunities to showcase tech and our sports tech accelerators and things like that while it's here. So yes, I look at like the FCS championship that we had for 15 years and how many people that came from all over the country to come to that game. And I firmly believe that the reason that Shields is in the Colony is because they were a North Dakota State supporter, and they came here and they went, there's an opportunity to do something. So I do think that those residual effects will carry through, because this is the biggest single sporting event in the world. There will not be a place to park a private airplane in DFW for 40 days, I would imagine, because you're going to have the most high net worth individuals that control a lot of those things. So we're just trying to make sure that this is our chance to be on that global stage and share the awesomeness that is Frisco, so that we can take advantage of that for years to come. And then on the tourism side, we've heard that whoever base camps somewhere, that their fans make pilgrimages back to wherever their base camp is, 10, 15, 20 years later. Repeat visitation is great for us. And they go back home and tell, hey, we went to the coolest city that we knew nothing about before we got here. We need to go back.
COVID made houses an asset class, a true asset class from an investment standpoint. And I think you're going to have a number of visitors who say, boy, I want to have a home in the United States, and I want to have a home in Texas, and I want to have a home in the Metroplex. And with that comes jobs and opportunities. I made the reference to the Dutch soccer club, but I think you're right. The high net worth individuals and the corporations that come in, they'll say, you know what, Texas is the place we want to do business.
We have a question here.
Hello, so we're Simply Gifted. We're a high school student-owned business in Frisco area. And we were wondering what opportunities we could have as like a gifting service, whether for teams coming in as a Welcome to Dallas memorabilia gift basket we could provide. What opportunities are there for us?
Okay, before we answer that, can we give it up for our young entrepreneurs? We love this. Thank you for skipping school to be with us today.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. This is so cool.
That's awesome. Do you like to sell tickets too?
I mean, if you're the ticket man, I guess.
Uncle tickets. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. So again, I go back to please sign up for the surveys that are coming your ways. Please go to the draw party. Please sign up Dallas FWC 26. Sign up to all of those things. Be watching for the national teams that are coming. And again, social media really changes things. You can introduce your business to that audience over there. There will be a number of people who come here. We picked on Holland. Again, we have been so thoughtful and calculated in targeting the big World Cup teams that hopefully are going to pick Frisco. But just think about this. All these families come. They have kids that come with them. You have birthdays, you have anniversaries, you have special celebrations. I mean, the passion around winning in this thing and winning even just individual games and the celebrations and the mementos that can be created to celebrate those. So I think if you'll take those steps, sign up, we're going to stay in contact. But again, be overt and use social media to your advantage and market to those countries because these fans are coming and it's not hard. I mean, you can look up their fan groups. Their fan groups are really actually easy to find out there and who the heads of the fan groups. Introduce yourself with an email. Say, hey, would you like to do a special gift for your fan crew coming here to Frisco as a memento? I mean, it's a great way to do that.
And I was just going to mention Lisa Bethea is sitting up here. She's on our Visit Frisco team. She, Lisa, everybody loves Lisa. Lisa is the connector of dots for all of our visitors that come to town. They may ask crazy things like, where can I get an elephant? And Lisa can find an answer for it, I promise you. But get in touch with Lisa because if we get opportunities, not just for World Cup, but for other events where we need some gifts and things like that, we are always looking for people to look, because our job is to make sure that we're getting people here, but also that they're spending their money in Frisco first. So get in touch with Lisa for sure.
Yeah, please do that. We're going to also be hosting a number of delegations. They come in and this is, on this scale, I put it like almost the NFL in scale size with teams and personnel that travel with for World Cup. It's just, a soccer team in Major League Soccer has 30 players and, 5 or 6 coaches. Their staffs are gigantic. Some of these national teams will spend upwards of $25 million just around their base camp when they come to a community. We're going to be hosting delegations at FC Dallas, hopefully with one of the primary national teams. We will be doing gifting. So something to keep in mind. Again, FC Dallas table is right there. Please go introduce yourself.
Awesome,
All right,
thank you.
we have time. We have one more question here, and then Rick will get to your question up front, and then we will leave time for mingling. So Nicole, if we can get the mic up here, and we'll go to Shelby's side.
Hi, I am Vontoba and I'm Psyche Terry. We are founders of Urban Hydration. We are a family-owned business located in the Frisco, Plano area, and we were a part of the FC Dallas Homegrown Partner Program of 2021, and we create plant-based skincare and hydration-focused skincare. We would love to provide SPF for every player, every person across the Metroplex for FIFA World Cup or hand sanitizers. Outside of gifting, how do we become the official FC Dallas homegrown partner, FIFA homegrown partner for hand sanitizers and SPF just lotion, just to make sure that folks are hydrated when they're playing.
It's great to see you guys, by the way. Our homegrown partnerships are something I'm really proud of at FC Dallas. I won't spend a lot of time talking about it, but look it up, and we've seen so many great business successes. We are going to be having partners at the soccer celebration. I think you know that cast of characters over there. And I go spend some time with them, but it's no secret it's warm here. And I think there are going to be a lot of people caught off guard that are visiting fans. And so you have an incredible target audience. But and you guys are such a great success story. You're going to get out there and have to do the work, do the legwork. Again, I keep saying sign up for these different things, but we will have this big activation in Frisco, and it's going to be organic. But you have a great opportunity because these visitors here, I promise you, they didn't bring enough sunscreen.
Hi, Rick Cowton from the Frisco Old Town community. For a lot of the brick and mortars, when all the spectators come in and when everyone is here, what's the expectation with regard to like hours of operation? There were some comments about credit card usage, so things that we wouldn't expect, that are experiences and lessons learned from prior World Cups that brick and mortar businesses should be prepared for.
Yeah, that's a great question, and you can jump in here in a second. I think it's really up to you on it. I mean, maximize the opportunity. The credit card, I'm glad you said this. They will not be traveling with a lot of cash. And Visa has incentivized fans to use their Visa credit cards for World Cup. They're the primary sponsor. So it'll be a lot of digital transactions. And I would also make sure that you have multiple pay apps on your phones, because they may pay you via Venmo, Zelle, whatever, stuff that I don't even know about. But hey, I would just think about it in a much more digital sense. And from ours, really, it's about maximizing the opportunity. I tell this story. We've had times where we've had visitors and they've gotten sick in the middle of the night. We literally have people running around to drugstores in the middle of the night looking for medicine. I mean, this is 24 hours a day for 39 days. And so how you want to maximize the opportunity, or how vendors or local businesses, that's really up to you, but take advantage of it.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a study, and I know we're working on some solutions for this, but only 40% of the visitors are going to be English speaking, and only 60% were going to have access to credit cards. Now they're going to use a lot of these pay apps and other things like that. So big thing for these businesses is figuring out a good way to do translation. Whether that's through your phone, certain apps. I know we've been looking into a lot of those things, whether it's the new AirPods that will live translate for you. You want to be able to communicate with these folks, but then just making sure, you asked about hours of operation. Once we get that schedule, and the timing of these matches, 48 hours after the draw, probably, we're going to be able to start to talk intelligently about when we think there's going to be pushes, when there's going to be late nights. That was one of the biggest learnings of the 94 World Cup was, Europeans came over here. They're not used to not being able to drink alcohol in the middle of the night at a bar. You're going to have to operate within the law, like Dan was saying earlier, but you may want to figure out how to staff up. But I also know as a small business, you don't want to staff up for 40 days and so I think once we start to see, we have our 9 match days, we just don't have the times. But we can start to see where those matchups are gonna be big. And if we have Germany here and they're playing somewhere else, but we have a large German contingency here, that might be a big night to staff up later than earlier and stuff like that. So again, we're waiting on a lot of information, but I think in the middle of December, we're going to be able to start talking way more intelligently about this.
I believe we have a slide too with some key dates on it that'll be important to jot down. And like we've said multiple times, you'll get a follow-up email. Make sure you sign up for this information because it is fluid and we will keep you in the know. And again, thank you so much for being here with us this morning.
Thank you.